Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show us how we can create a holo text effect using CorelDRAW. I've seen this tutorial a couple of times by designers who use Illustrator, but I just want to replicate the same design in CorelDRAW. So without wasting much time, we're just going to start. And the first thing we want to do is create our text. Right, so I created a document and I've saved it as holo text. Alright, so you just create a text and let's use deep, DEEP, or let's use it in caps. So just do caps lock DEEP and we have this. I'm going to change the font to something I really like. I'm going to try Helvetica and make it bold, and I'm going to stretch it a bit so that it looks bigger. So I think I'm going to close the gap a little bit. Just use my shape tool from here and just pull the spaces short a bit, and this is very perfect. And the next thing I want to do is to remove the fill. Now the text is a vector shape that has a fill and an outline, but currently the outline is not specified, so we are going to remove the fill and add an outline. To do that, all we need to do is come over to the color palette on the right hand side and right click on any color we prefer for our outline. In my own case, I'm going to right click on yellow to add a yellow outline, and then I'm going to go to the top of the color palette where we have the slash, the red slash there, and I'm going to click on it with my left mouse button to remove the fill. So now we have a deep text with a yellow outline, but the outline is not thick enough, so I want to thicken it a bit. So to do that, I'm going to have to go to the outline pen. So once we go F12, we go to the outline pen, and from here we can increase the thickness of the outline, the width, by let's say I'm going to do 1 point for now and say okay. And so we have this. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to flatten the text in such a way, give it a perspective in such a way that it feels like it's actually lying on the floor. So to do that, we have to go to our object, and under object we go to perspective and we say add perspective. And all we need to do here is stretch out the shape, the text in the way we prefer. So I'm just going to slip this down, bring this down a bit, spread this one out like that. I'm not going to do too much. I'm just going to try to achieve something very basic. And while you're working on your perspective, keep in mind that you want it to kind of like open up a bit so you can see the insides of the shape. So something like this is cool. So we have just bend the lines. It's very easy to do. Just bend the lines and you're going to arrive at this place. So once you've done this, I think you've gotten your perspective right. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to duplicate the text, right? So we have this first one. We're going to press Ctrl D, and once we do that, grab the text you've duplicated and just bring it down a bit, the distance you like, respectable distance, and keep hitting Ctrl D like 2 more times, and you're going to get 3 extra shapes or 3 extra text to add it to the first one. And for this one, so we're going to change the outline. So I'll select the second one and I'll go to my color palette again. This time around I'll right click on orange because I prefer to use orange for the second. And for the third one, I'll right click on red, and the fourth one I'll right click on magenta. I just want to use colors that are similar. And we have to rearrange this in such a way that the arrangement, this one in the front, this one should be in the front, and the last one should be at the back. So for us to send the last one behind, you do shift page down. To send the second to the last one behind the first, you do control page down. Control sends it 1 step backward, shift sends it to the back. Now I think we are good to go. Then for the one on the top, we have to do shift page up to bring it to the front. Right, so now we have it in front. We have this one following, this one following, this one following. And so here comes the sweet part. Now if your text by chance doesn't align, as you can see mine, the D from the yellow is a bit far from the edge of the document compared to the D from the magenta one. So if you want them all to align, just select all of them, draw a box around all of them using your pick tool, draw a box around them and press L or C. L to align them to the left hand side, or C to center them to each other. Still the same thing, right? So we are going to grab our blend tool at this point. So you will find your blend tool right under the drop shadow tool. So go there and you find your blend tool, grab your blend tool, then go to your shapes, just slide from the first one down into the second, and you're going to have a couple of objects, and you notice that it has a lot of holes inside of it, so you can bump it up to like 100 is fair. And then we have some other shapes, so you're going to have to stretch from The good thing about blending is it doesn't just work with two shapes. You can do with multiple shapes. So you can grab a blend again from the edge here down into the next shape, right? And it follows the same thing. And grab from the edge again of the previous shape down into the next shape, and there you have such a beautiful site. You have a beautiful site. Now if you feel that this is too much, you can click on it. You can use your blend tool, select your blend tool, click on it until you find the two. It's always two shapes blending into each other, so until you find those two controls, select the first or anyone you can click on, the first or the second, and you could push the shape inside or out, just tighten the blends a bit. And you notice at some point it begins to reduce the blending at the edges. If you don't want that to happen, you can always extend this, right? So just remember that. You could also grab the one from the top and push it up or bring it down to make the blending more or less blended, depends. Yeah, and this is practically how you could make that shape. Let's just add a background to see, make it darker, so we can have a dark backdrop against this. So you can see that you've created your DEEP text with a hollow feel inside of it. If you want to do some finishing touches, you could still select the first one at the top, do Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and just maybe add like a white by click on white to give it a white outline, or black, who knows, anything. Black doesn't look nice. Do white, and you could still do, like, we could go to F12 again, the outline pen, and change the style from sharp straight lines to dashed lines, and have it like that. So it could be like a dashed line, yeah. And you could mix the outline to a bit of yellow so it doesn't look too white. You could hold your control and right click a couple of times on the yellow and it mixes up the outline so it doesn't look too deep, right? Pun intended. If you find this video helpful, you could leave a thumbs up and drop a comment. I'd always encourage you to tell me in the comments if you have any tutorial requests, and if it's something I can do, then I'll attempt it.